Brigadier Odongo, Africa's own mercenary who planned coups in Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda and DRC Congo. His official name was Stephen Ochieng Amoke, but the notorious corpse plotter was infamously known as Brigadier Odongo. Brigadier Odongo is perhaps the only Kenyan who played a key role in Yoweri Museveni's guerrilla group, the National Resistance Army,
where 2 companies of Tanzanians and 1,400 Ugandan trainees were stationed. The Tanzanians were training the Ugandans. There was a big armory there, underground, which contained a lot of rifles. Those were our targets. But unfortunately, one of us fired a bullet prematurely, and one Tanzanian corporal went underground in the armory, because the armory is underground. The armory at Kawamba was underground. He went in the armory, and it was difficult to get him out. But nevertheless, we captured the barracks, the whole barracks, the quarter guard, the MTO yard, that is the motor transport yard, the signal center and the administrative center. We took control of the whole barracks, and all the Tanzanians who were there and the Ugandans ran away. But we did not get to the main target, which were the guns underground. We however managed to get vehicles from the MT yard, as well as some other guns from the houses of the officers and of the soldiers. And we left Kabamba by a fleet of vehicles through Chenjojo, through Bugangezi and Buyaga, up to Chiboga, thereby establishing our first base in the war of liberation against the regime of Obote.
Reports have that Kaguta Museveni was using Brigadier Odongo as a spy within Obote's government. However, the Bulgaria-trained Kenyan revolutionary was quickly discarded by Kaguta as soon as Yoweri Museveni succeeded in overthrowing Milton Obote.
It's no longer change but merely turmoil. This group getting rid of that group, and that group doing worse than the group it got rid of. Now, please, I do not count us in that category of people.
Brigadier Odongo thrived in rebellions and had even trained his own mercenaries for hire. From Uganda, he moved to Rwanda to assist Paul Kagame's Rwanda Patriotic Front. In short, it was RPF, to fight against Juvenal Habyarimana. It is because of him and his friend Patrick Wangamati, a former Ford Kenya nominated member of parliament, that a group of Kenyans, especially Bukusus, served as mercenaries in Paul Kagame's rebel group.
General, where does all these ammunition and weapons come from?
We buy them. We buy them from the contribution given by the Rwandese community internally here and in diaspora. There have been a very large Rwandese community outside Rwanda. We also capture a lot of equipment from the government forces.
By 1995, Museveni had brought Odongo back to the Uganda People's Defense Force and was allegedly trying to use him and Wangamati to overthrow President Daniel Arap Moi of Kenya. The attempted coup against Moi was executed through a short-lived guerrilla group called FERA, which in full was February 18 Resistance Army. FERA was named after the day the Kenyan freedom fighter Dedan Kimathi was executed, which was on February 18, 1957. But due to the infight between Odongo and Wangamati over leadership, the group collapsed. With the time, Museveni was again to fall out with the brigadier. This was after it was claimed that some of his weapons had been found among Joseph Koi's Lord's resistant army militias.
People, they don't know me. They don't know who is Kony. They don't know even my political agenda. Because I was in the bush, I'm a rebel. And Museveni is a government. So you know very well that Museveni is working with very many means. Very many ways to fight me. Propaganda, what.
Meanwhile, Moi had already banned him from setting foot in Kenya. Even as he became sickly, he was eventually assisted by General Olusegun Obasanjo to secure asylum in Ghana, where he lived briefly, before making his way to DRC Congo to help his friend Laurent Kabila to overthrow President Mobutu Sese Seko.
Ngbendu Wazabanga, élu président du mouvement populaire.
Unfortunately, Odongo's health had become worse. His hopes were further dampened when Laurent Kabila was assassinated shortly after taking power in DRC Congo. Brigadier Odongo eventually died in 2004 and was buried in a cemetery in Kinshasa. There were only 4 people at his funeral: a priest, a relative who had traveled all the way from Kenya, and DRC Congo's Director of Intelligence and the DRC Director of Military Intelligence. Following Odongo's death, one of the Kenyan newspaper asked President Museveni's younger brother, Lieutenant General Salim Saleh, whether he knew Odongo. Lieutenant Saleh responded by also inquiring, "Is he still alive? That man? What happened to him? Anyway, I knew him, but I don't want to talk about it. There are better things to discuss."
Air Force, Chief of the Reserve, Commander Special Forces, and all other chiefs